Okay, so I'm here with Rob Edward. Now he's a filmmaker behind a short dramatic film called Living Together, which is nominated at a festival in London. Welcome.
Thank you.
Congratulations.
Thanks. Yeah, thank you very much.
As you know, if you could just give us a brief synopsis of the film, and then we'll carry on with the interview.
Sure, yeah.
You'll have to look at my ugly face, I'm afraid.
Yeah, sure.
You don't have to agree that it's ugly, but yes, it's okay.
That's not what I was going for.
No, I know, sorry.
Yeah, it's just a short film about, it's a relationship drama. Basically about what could happen if people lose the ability to communicate to each other in a meaningful way, and sort of the secrets that you can keep underneath trying to save face in a relationship when, if you can no longer...
It's quite a tough film.
Yeah.
I found it. I mean, it was quite brilliantly acted, but it was quite, not difficult to watch.
It's intense.
It's intense, and it's quite truthful in the way that their relationship was laid bare, I found. Where on earth did you get those two leads from?
Well, I basically, one was just a friend of a friend, and then the other one was pretty easy. It was just myself.
Yeah, I know, it was you, yeah. Sorry, what I meant by that was, why did you decide to cast yourself? I mean, because I'm assuming that was the idea all along.
Yeah. Well, I'm an actor first.
Yeah.
So I went to school here at Rosebroofer College in Sidcup.
Yeah.
And I was over here for a little bit auditioning with an agency, and through a few months of that, I ended up getting dropped by that agency. But as I was doing that, I had this idea for this sort of. I just kept hearing that argument in my head, kind of thing.
So, but where does I know you had the idea always comes from somewhere, doesn't it?
Yeah.
I mean, it's quite rare that someone will wake up and think, oh, that's, or did it literally happen that way?
Well, it's just. My head's a bad place to be sometimes.
Okay. So it was literally an idea that came to you.
Yeah. I was just on it was again because I'm from Barrie, Ontario, in Canada, and basically the people I was living with, I think it was Easter weekend or something like that, and I just hopped on a bus. No one was around and stuff like that, so I just went on a bus with some music, and I just kind of just heard this sort of argument in my head, kind of thing, like back and forth, and it went on, and it just spiraled from there. And then as I was working certain jobs, waiting tables, bossing tables, and washing dishes and stuff like that, I just was able to sort of write the whole thing in my head. And then one morning just kind of like just sat down for about 6 hours and wrote the whole thing. And then I always had it in my back pocket, and I was back over here in London. I wrote it in Canada. Yeah. I came back over to London, and then some things happened, and I ended up basically just thinking to myself,
because it is quite brutal in terms of, like I say, most people wouldn't have seen this, but it does lay the relationship quite bare, doesn't it?
Yeah. I mean, it was nice to show a lot of my friends back home who aren't anywhere near sort of this industry at all.
Yeah.
We rented out a small, like a theater in the downtown of my
I bet a couple of them
kind of thing.
I wasn't expecting that.
Yeah, exactly. And a lot of them hadn't even seen me act before, right? Because I didn't really do anything before I went to drama school. So I came back, and basically we were going around town, me and my producing partner, we were going around town just picking up certain stuff for the shoot, and people were asking us what we were doing, and people were genuinely very excited for us to be shooting something in, because it's not a movie city at all. But yeah, and then going to show people and stuff like that, it was very much, sweaty palms and people, it goes from the start and it doesn't really let up.
No, it's quite relentless, isn't it?
Yeah.
And what about the girl? How did Ace? How did she come to be part of it?
She came.
Did you know her or?
I didn't know her. I knew my producing partner went to school. He went to Toronto Film School.
Because she's been nominated, I think, hasn't she, Ace? For the, I thought she was nominated for the role. So I might be wrong. I don't
know. She should.
Yeah, no. You're both brilliant.
We can figure it out after.
Yeah. I thought she'd be. Anyway, sorry.
She was amazing. She was my producing partner went to school with Akil, my buddy Akil, and he read this when I first wrote the script. Sent it to him. We sat down in a coffee shop, talked about the whole thing, talked about who we think could do it. This was back in Canada, and he threw out her name. I met with a couple other girls, someone I knew from high school, and a couple others just on Facebook groups and stuff like that. And I met with her, and just from the beginning of just the first chat, I think we sat down at just a shop down in Toronto for about an hour and a half and talked about the script, talked about relationships and what can happen in those kind of relationships if it gets to something like that, and you lose that ability to communicate to each other, and it seems like everyone that I knew and things that, and like talking to people, everyone was like, I can, a lot of people find it hard to watch just because it's like it feels like a relationship that I've been in.
Yeah,
and all that kind of stuff.
and
Everyone's had those sort of arguments.
Absolutely, yeah. I was going to say, I don't care what anyone says. We've all I know that. I know people, myself included, can relate to not all of it, certain elements of it.
Yeah.
The points and the arguments. Yeah. Oh Christ, there's because we've all done it, haven't we?
Yeah.
And that's just human nature. And it must have been quite tough to actually put together. I mean, was there any point you were thinking, I don't know, I've got the idea, it seems great, but this is a bit quite dark? Yeah, no, I wouldn't even say dark, and maybe that's the wrong word, but it's quite intense. I mean, did you ever sort of falter at any point and think, maybe this isn't really what I really want to do, or did you just?
Oh, for sure. Yeah. Well, I mean. Yeah, going through.
Because it's not a rom-com, what I'm getting at,
Yeah, no, yeah, absolutely. Yeah, and it's a heavy topic. It's a heavy sort of, it's an intense thing, and it was things that I really need to think about is if I'm going to put this out there, do I want, you need to get your ducks in a row kind of thing. Is if you're going to send this out, it's got to be, if you're going to send it out to people, you got to actually contemplate what you're going to put into it and things like that. So, yeah, it was a lot of that, and as an actor, am I going to be able to do this and all that kind of stuff, but at the end of the day, it was basically just I wasn't getting jobs as an actor, so I thought I needed to teach myself how to make my own stuff. So I'm never out of work in a certain way.
That's incredible. There's a filmmaker that's here. He's done a rom-com actually. He was here yesterday, and he's back. He said almost exactly the same thing when I interviewed him on the phone, and it almost word for word is what you said. Things weren't happening, and he just knew the only way to make it happen was actually create a film himself. And
well, I think that's the way it's coming to right now, and it's never really been easier. I mean, we had DSLRs ready to go. We ended up getting a ride through our DP, but other than that, it was just let's film it over. We basically filmed it over a weekend. We filmed it in about around 72 hours. We filmed it on Friday night, wrapped it Sunday morning.
Well, it's 17 minutes. Is it 17 minutes?
16 and a half. It was about 21 pages, 23 pages, something like that. Got it done in a weekend. It was just us. It was honestly, it was me, my producing partner, our DP, our sound guy, and then me and Ace. That was it.
He's effectively a two-hander, to be fair.
Exactly. Yeah. And our crew was some of my friends from back home came over to work the slate and stuff like that, and it was people coming to help out and stuff like that. But there was no one there. No one was going to help us, and we just wanted to make a film, and that's basically it. It's never been easier to make a film, and it's just like this. I think our budget by the end of it was about when we rolled camera, I think it was about $1,000.
That's amazing.
By the end of it, just with food and stuff like that, it was probably $1,500 by the time we cut, or by the time we wrapped, and then from there it's been a bit with festival entries and stuff like that. But it's never been easier, and you can do it on your own. I'd never made a film before this, and it was just asking people how to do it. I'm part of Actra back in Canada, and it was just sitting down with someone saying, I'm going to make a film, how do we do this? And it was just buying, doing insurance and filling out forms and stuff like that. Other than that, it's...
But now you've done it, and I know you've acted before, but now you're the technical, the creation side. Has it become a kind of epiphany in terms of, actually, I really enjoy this? I'm not trying to put words in your mouth. I guess what I'm trying to ask you is, now you've been at both ends, done both things.
Yeah.
Is it more, do you get more satisfaction in actual creation rather than being in front of the camera?
Well, it's nice to be able to redo things if you actually want to be, if you can actually get another take. But no, it's good. Yeah, I mean, it's especially if you're. I don't know if you could write. I don't know if I could write something and then give it to another director, because that would be sacrificing a lot of sort of a certain vision. But
it's going to change. That's the point, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's going to change.
But as far as directing, for sure. I mean, I've just written a feature film that I'm going to try and get going hopefully this year. For set it in the winter, so I'd really want to try and get it done for get some funding and stuff like that for this winter coming up, and shoot it again in my hometown and stuff like that.
So it won't be in the UK. That will be back
in Canada.
In Ontario, is it?
Toronto.
Toronto. Okay.
Yeah. But yeah, I mean, it's strange. There's certain things that I wish, just on the crunch of time and being first time director and all that stuff. There's a lot of stuff we wish we could have redone and stuff like that, which is fine. But there's something about being an actor where you can just totally surrender to a director and sort of really sink your teeth into a role, which is nice, but also being able to create the entire thing and act in it and stuff like that. There's a certain amount of pride that you can get from making it all yourself as opposed to just being an actor in it, which is fine. Like that's great. Acting's my first love, but especially doing this, it's definitely started a hunger.
Yeah, and it's interesting. A couple of things you said there. I've spoken to countless filmmakers, and if I was to ask, and I've asked a lot of them, you're happy to finish a project. It's extremely rare for a filmmaker to say, yeah, I'm 100% totally satisfied. It just hardly ever happens.
Satisfied?
Yeah, they'll always virtually, you could say 99 times out of 100, they would say, actually, I wish I had more time because I would have adjusted this or taken this or added this, I wish I had a storyboard or whatever they would say. So it's very common for them not to be satisfied with the finished product. And I know I've spoken to filmmakers, some well-known filmmakers, relatively well-known, and even they will say the same thing. You'd always just want to tinker, didn't you?
Yeah. I mean,
you might have wanted to add something or remove something or film something different. I don't know what it was.
And it was the first time, right? Like we made so many mistakes that we didn't even know were going to come up and things like that. We couldn't have known, kind of thing.
Believe me, it's a brilliant first-time effort. It's a really good film.
Thank you. I couldn't be more proud of it. But obviously, it's like anything. I think I'm sure if you ask any actor, even if they've won an Oscar for a film or anything like that, if they've had any sort of accolades for their work, they'd always look at it and say, I could have. One little moment in their mind wasn't hit or something like that, and they wish they could have got back. So it's not. It hasn't got me down in any way. It's just sort of it pushes you to be able to prep a bit more for the next one and just continue.
And when you're dealing with something, for all intents and purposes, about breakdown of relationship, to be honest. But when you're dealing with that on screen, which must be quite draining anyway, because that's the script, it's the story, isn't it?
Right, yeah.
And these two are at each other, to be honest. That must be difficult to do in the first instance, but then of course you've got the added pressure of actually the buck stops with you now, doesn't it?
Yeah.
So I guess the question I'm asking is, it would probably be quite tiring to do that role anyway, but are you doubly tired because you know at the end of the day, you're calling the shots, aren't you?
Yeah, it was. Yeah,
exhausting. So is it exhausting?
It was a long weekend. It was a very long weekend. Yeah, it was. Yeah, I mean, we rented out the actual house that we filmed it in was an Airbnb just in town.
Oh right.
Yeah, so we just rented an Airbnb for the weekend. Our sound guy slept there. Ace and the DP were sleeping at our houses and stuff like that. Like it was very communal. It was like a little family that we had, kind of thing. But yeah, there wasn't very much sleep, and it was. There's so many different. We were filming the first kitchen scene when they're in the kitchen fighting, and this guy lived in the back of the Airbnb and just started blasting music at 2 a.m. And our sound guy looked at us and just said, you can't film anything until that's gone. Like we can't use anything that you film. So
was he in the same property?
He was in. It was
an adjoining property.
It was like an adjoining property. He lived just in a tiny little thing in the back, and I had to knock on the door, and it was 2 a.m.
Say please.
So it was a bit, and. So it was a bit of begging and pleading and stuff like that, and we had that, and then for the smoke alarm bit, we had a smoke machine pumping into the apartment, and during one of the takes, the actual fire alarm in the actual thing went off. So there's a lot of things like that. It was it was again, it was a couple of takes every single scene and stuff like that, and. But yeah, it was great. Like I wouldn't have changed it. It was nice. It's funny thinking back on it now because it was back in the summer. But yeah, it was hectic during it, but it was it's nice. It's nostalgic, I guess now. Yeah,
nostalgia.
Well, heaviness. Well, it's sort of when it's as intense as that, you kind of have to take it easy on set sometimes to just make it workable. If it was so intense, it would be. I don't know if it would have worked. There was a lot of laughs. We were joking around and stuff like that on set.
Yeah, and what's really interesting is, I know how tough it is to make films, whether it's a short or long or documentary, whatever you're putting together. It's a bloody tough gig, and of course most people aren't involved in the industry. All they see the glitz and glamour, but I know actually it's a bloody tough thing, and. Perhaps more people should know that actually they need to go into this industry with their eyes wide open because it's not. we all know the stats for our actors and actresses are outwork is something like 95% or something crazy, isn't it? But of course, we only see the top echelons are getting continuous work. But actually, it's a very, very difficult.
Yeah.
I mean, perhaps you could tell us just how tough that is.
Well,
You've got to have a thick skin as well. You've got to accept the nose, haven't you?
And it's tough. I mean, I think, I think there's. It's hard. It's tough, and it's more just laying yourself on the line and then not getting anything back, which again is such a good reason why there's people that can just make their own things now, and they don't have to wait for people to. There's a certain amount of like, it's almost like a certain amount of your soul that you can leave on an audition room floor, and if it doesn't get picked up by them, that it almost feels like some of you still missing in there. So when you have the opportunity to write to your strengths and have something in your grasp that you can make, then it just gives so much more power back to the creator as opposed to handing it over to someone who can potentially hire you. Because I think everyone knows too that it's not necessarily the best person for the job. It's, you know, a certain amount of followers nowadays and a certain amount of there's so many more things nowadays that will keep you from getting a job that if you just make it now, it's fine. But yeah, it's tough, you know. And to your first point, I remember when we were at drama school. I remember we were sitting in just teching a show, and we were in an old warehouse in our one of our plays and stuff, and it was, you know, stopping and starting, and it was 1,000,000 degrees in this old like ratty warehouse and stuff like that. And I remember looking over to one of my buddies and just saying, "This is what acting is. Not like the, you know." Like when you're toiling in the middle of nowhere in a stairwell,
which
that's
happens
got
a hell of a lot.
You know what I mean? Yeah.
Of course it does.
You're on set for 18 hours. That's what it is. It's not the other side where it's, you know, the pictures and it's, you know, all that
partying and drinking and everything else. Yeah.
That's after you've done all of the work, which are, you know, again, 18-hour days on 4 hours sleep and hoping that it's going to come together and only getting 2 takes when you wanted, you know, 16 and things like that. Like that's what it is. And yeah,
I always think that becoming an actor or actress, it's not an odd career choice. I'm struggling to think of the words. It's even in this day and age, it's quite an unusual career to take, isn't it? Because I don't know how many of you said none of them have seen you acting before, so that tells me that none of your friends are actors or actresses.
Yeah, no.
So it is quite still an unusual career choice. And is that something you wanted to do from the offset or from the outset, or was it something you sort of morphed into? How did that come about? I mean, did you want to be, I don't know, a teacher or an engineer? I don't know, I haven't got a clue.
I haven't really thought of anything. I mean, maybe like musician or something like that when I was a kid. I had a couple high school bands and stuff like that.
Which is quite cool.
Yeah, and it's quite like a lot of people are going to that sort of route too. But yeah, all my friends from back home don't have any affiliation to that. I just grew up loving film. We go to the movies all the time, and my aunt and uncle owned a video store when I was growing up, so I just kind of had a plethora of any sort of movie I wanted to watch, and it was, you know, the biggest one in town, so they had all of the obscure films and things like that. So I just grew up loving it, and then met up with an acting coach and who was trained at RADA, and you know, he just told me to get over here. My mom was born in Ballymena in Northern Ireland.
Right. Okay.
So I just got my
dual nationality,
and you know, a lot of my idols, a lot of my heroes in acting, or a lot of them are English, trained classically over here. So I just sent off a tape to a couple schools, and Rose Bruford got back to me and went there. And I haven't really thought about doing anything else, and it's always what I want to do. And it's a different thing too, because again, like, I don't have a lot of friends that do it, but it's nice that they actually do. They appreciate it in a certain way too, because it is so different. But and I know you straddle both worlds.
Yeah.
You know.
And it must be an advantage being able to dual nationality, because you never have to worry about, well, how long can I stay? How can I earn money? You know, that's all sort of pushed to one side, isn't it?
Which is why I mean, I can't thank you guys enough for accepting us into this, because it's great. It's nice to be back in London. You know, I've lived here for a couple of years, and it's nice to be back here for work in a certain degree too, and I get to see all my friends again and stuff like that. So it's nice, and London has a very special place in my heart, and it's nice to be back here.
It's quite a cool city, you know.
It's all right. Yeah.
You're never going to run out of things to do, are you? That's the thing.
Yeah, no, it's great.
Now, just picking up quickly on the point you made earlier about, I know you said there are things you would change, but in the round, looking at the project in its entirety, the reactions had, are you 80% satisfied? Can you put a number to this? I think it might be a difficult question,
Yeah.
but you must have, I guess, have a feeling about where you sit in terms of the finished film.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know a percentage. I don't really.
It's a. I know.
Yeah,
That's me saying I didn't want to put you on the spot, but I guess what I'm asking is, overall, are you pretty satisfied with the finished film?
Yeah. Oh, for sure. And especially with I think what I'm most proud of is doing it in my hometown. My friends helping me out. The amount of people in our crew. The fact that we didn't have a budget. You know, we had. Basically, not. I mean, you hear micro budget films and no budget films and stuff like that. We had it was
no budget.
It was credit cards.
Yeah,
you know
yeah.
what I mean? It was, you know, helping out, sleeping at my parents' place and stuff like that, just to so we could have, you know, we had the resources to be able to do this kind of thing. And yeah, for the amount of time, the fact that it was all mostly first time filmmakers, at least for me, and yeah, I am extremely proud of this, and especially to be back here on my own back, and sort of going to your original point too, is it's not I auditioned for a job and I got it and now I'm here, so it's like someone's helped me out or something. It's all on all of our backs, you know. We're here because we just had a vision for this and we sought it out and we did it, and yeah, I'm extremely proud of it. But it's you always wish you could fix mistakes, for sure.
Yeah.
And it's probably mistakes that people don't even see, or.
No, I didn't know. There was nothing glaring to me. You know, it looked a really well-made film. You know, really well-made short. Now, I know you said you've written a script that's potentially going to be a feature, but other than that, what's happening right now in your life? Is there anything else that you're doing?
Focusing really hard on this one, just because of doing this short film and knowing how much that entailed. And this one's, I'm really looking forward to this one. This one's really close to my heart, for sure. And I'm focusing a lot on that right now. And yeah, that's pretty much all I got on my plate at the moment, yeah.
Okay, listen, well done. Thank you very much. And thank
Thank you so
you for taking the time to come to us.